it's Miss Faina. Today we're going to be working out the test number 3 review because you do have a test tomorrow. So first things first, we have question 1. It says identify the slope for each graph below. So remember, when we're given a graph, what we want to do is we want to find 2 pretty points. I'm going to go ahead and use 0, 0, and then this point over here that they already gave me, which is 40, 16. So 40, 16. Okay, and this is 0, 0. So what we're going to do is rise over run. Okay, so we have rise over run. So here we go. From 0, I go up 16. So that is my rise. And I go over 40. So in my calculator, I'm going to type in 16 divided by 40 so it simplifies it for me. Okay, so I go over to my calculator. Remember, you hit new calculator, and again I'm going to type in 16 divided by 40. Enter. It simplifies to 2/5. Okay, so my slope is 2/5. If you have a hard time doing the rise over run, okay, you can always use the slope formula. Remember, we have y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So my first point would be 0, 0, and then I have the point 40, 16, and I plug it in. So I have y sub 2, which would be 16, minus, because that's part of the formula, 0 over 40 minus 0. And again, when I type that into my calculator, I can type it in just like that. So I have my calculator. I use the fraction button. Okay, it was 16 minus 0. On the bottom, I had 40 minus 0. Again, I get 2/5. So it doesn't matter which way you solve it, you get the same exact thing. So whenever you're typing it in, you're going to use the Move Select tool. You're going to click on the box and type it in. It's not going to let me because I don't have the student version. Okay, so 2/5 is your slope. Perfect. Looking at number 2. Okay, we need 2 pretty points. So it looks like we have a pretty point right here and a pretty point right there. Okay, again, you have to be careful because if you look, our sides are going up by 4s. Okay, not by 2. So you have to be very careful whenever you're doing rise over run. That's why maybe actually doing the formula might be better. So this first point is negative 4, 12. So this is negative 4, 12. And the second point is negative 12, 16. Okay, so again, you have to be careful, be careful, be careful when you're doing this. So if we're doing rise over run, most of you like to go on this side. So from 12 to 16, that's going up 4. So my rise would be 4. My run, I'm going from negative 4 to negative 12, so that'd be negative 4, negative 8. Okay, and then I would type that into my calculator. So that was my run. I again type it into my calculator to have it simplified for me. So 4 over negative 8, 4 divided by negative 8, we get a negative 1/2. Okay, again, this might be one that I use the formula. So again, I have negative 12, positive 16. I have negative 4, positive 12. So my formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, we plug it in, so x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have 12 minus 16 over negative 4 minus negative 12. And I'm going to type that in to the handy dandy calculator. So I have 12 minus 16 over negative 4 minus negative 12. When I type it in, I also get a negative 1/2. So again, you would do the move select tool, click the box, type in a negative 1/2 with no extra spaces. Okay, so that's what it's like. Oops, sorry. That's what it's like to find the slope given a graph. Okay, looking at number 3 and 4, this is something that we've been doing since almost day 1 of school, the first week of school. Okay, function notation. So given the function f of x equals 1/2 x minus 8, what is the value of f of 40? Remember, all that is telling me is that x equals 40. I need to find the y value. So I'm going to replace this x with the number 40 and just type it in my calculator. Okay, so what this looks like is I have a 1/2, but instead of the x, I'm replacing it with the number 40. Everything else stays exactly the same. Again, I just changed the x to the number 40. Now I'm going to type that in my calculator. 1/2 times 40 minus 8. So 1/2 times 40 minus 8. Done. My answer is 12. So in the box, you would click and you would say, type in the number 12. It's really that easy, guys. Okay? So the next one, given the function f of x equals 4/3 x plus 5, what is the value of f of 24? Again, that's telling me that x equals 24. So we're going to just change this x to the number 24. So I have 4/3 times, again, instead of the x, I'm changing it, substituting in the number 24. So I'm going to plug that into my calculator. So 4/3 times 24 plus 5. So fraction 4/3 times 24 plus 5. I get 37. Oops, going to the wrong thing. Sorry, guys. So equals 27. Done. Again, you select the move cursor tool and you click the box and you just type it in. Okay. Looking at the next one, it says change each of the following into slope-intercept form. Identify the slope and the y-intercept. So currently, this is in standard form. Okay, to go to slope-intercept form, which is what it wants, first we need to move over the non-y term. So let's look and see what we got. So line through the equal sign. Okay, the non-y term would be the 5x, so I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Remember, the 5x and the 26 are not like terms, so therefore we cannot combine them. So we just show it as 26 minus 5x. From here, we want to get the y by itself. So step 2 is to divide by the number in front of y. So that means I'm going to divide everything by -2. Everything by -2. So when I do that, I get y equals 26 divided by -2 is a -13. -5 divided by -2 is a +5/2 x. So now we have it into slope-intercept form. So my equation is either going to be y equals a -13 plus 5/2 x, or y equals 5/2 x minus 13. Since it's in slope-intercept form, the number in front of the x is my slope. So my slope is a 5/2. My y-intercept is the number that stands alone, which makes it -13. And that's it. Okay, looking at the second one, again, we draw a line through our equal sign. Step 1, move over the non-y term. Remember that x has a 1 in front of it, so I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides. So when I do that, I get 3y is equal to 27 minus 1x. Then I need to divide by the number in front of y, so I divide everything by 3. So I get y equals 27 divided by 3 is 9, and -1/3 x. And now I have it in slope-intercept form. So I can go ahead and type in my equation. So again, you're going to select that move selector, move tool, click the box, type it in. So you can type it in as y equals 9 minus 1/3 x, or y equals 1/3 x plus 9. Okay, again, my slope is the number that is in front of x, so that's that -1/3. I forgot the negative on this equation, so -1/3, there we go, -1/3 for the slope. And my y-intercept is the number that stands by itself, oops, messed up, okay, which is the 9. 9. Okay, so that's how you go from standard form to slope-intercept form, so you can write the equation and identify the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, looking at 7 and 8, we're given a table, we're given points. So when you're doing this, all you do is the formula. So our formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So from the table, I need to pick 2 points. So I'm going to go ahead and use this first point and the second point. Okay, so my formula, there's a line, there's 2 minus signs. I just plug in the numbers. Okay, so I have x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So y sub 2 is -4. Y sub 1 is a -12. X sub 2 is a -1. X sub 1 is a -3. So I'm going to type that into my handy dandy calculator. -4 minus a -12. -1 minus a -3. So fraction button. -4 minus a -12. -1 minus a -3. Again, I typed it in exactly as I wrote it. I press enter. I get 4 as the slope. M equals 4. So again, you would do the move select tool, click the box and type it in. I'm just going to write it in because I'm on the teacher's side, so I can't do that. So my slope is 4. Okay, with the 2 points, same process. Formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, so we have our fraction with two minus signs. Okay, we label x sub 1, y sub 1, because that's the first point. X sub 2, y sub 2, because that's the second point. And now we just plug and chug. So y sub 2 is a negative 10, minus y sub 1, which is a negative 18. X sub 2 is 4, minus x sub 1, which is 3. And now we just type it into the calculator. Negative 10 minus a negative 18. 4 minus 3. Here we go. Fraction button. Negative 10 minus a negative 18. On the bottom, 4 minus 3. We get 8 as the slope. 8 as the slope. So again, you would select the select or move tool, click on the box, type it in. But again, I'm just going to write it 8. Okay. Looking here. Some domain and range. Ooh, fun. So it says for the questions, aka graphs, below, identify the correct domain and range. So notice that we have some options down below. So in the boxes, we're just going to write the letters that go with it. If we look at number 9's graph, we have oops, that's not a pin. We have 2 stops, which means we're going to have 2 numbers. So first, let's label the point. So this looks like it's negative 4, 1. Okay, and this over here looks like it's 5, negative 2. Okay, remember, Dr. X, Y. Remember, X's go from left to right. Y's go bottom to top. Started from the bottom, now we here. Oh, no? Not cool enough? Okay, that's okay. So, our domain is our X values. Remember, we're cropping the picture. So we want to go from the X value of negative 4 to the X value of, I put 5, to the X value of 5. So we have negative 4x 5. Remember, no line, open circle. So that has no line, but the closed circle gets a line underneath. So we want to find that answer down below. So negative 4 to 5, and it has to have x. So because E and F and D all have y, we don't want that for our domain. So we want negative 4 to 5. Looks like it's answer choice B. So I'm going to type in B right there. Okay. The range is bottom to top. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Okay. So my bottom y value is a negative 2. Again, we use y for the range. And my top y value is 1. Okay. Negative 2 has a closed circle, which means it gets a line. And 1 has an open circle and no line, open circle. Okay, now because we're talking about the range, we want the ones that have a y with it. So we don't want A or B for this one, but we're looking for negative 2 to 1. Okay, we have 2 options. We have F, we have D. Okay, we have to pay attention to the no line or line, which negative 2 had a line under it, so that means we want answer choice D. So F would not work. Oops. Can't write the right letters. Hello. There we go. Okay, looking at number 10. This one has no stops. Okay, which means all real numbers. But I want you to see why. So again, from left to right for the domain, this is going to keep going to the left forever and ever and ever, and it's going to keep going to the right forever and ever and ever. So if it goes from negative infinity all the way to positive infinity, the only option we have is all real numbers, which is C. Okay, if we look at it as far as going up and down, this graph, oops, that's the eraser. This graph goes down forever. This graph goes up forever. So its range is also all real numbers. Okay, it's not bounded like number 9. Number 9 is bounded. It has 2 endpoints versus 10 had 2 arrows. So it's something to keep in mind. Okay, next we have to solve each of the following for x. So we have one equation, one inequality. So let's start with the equation. So draw a line through the equal sign. So we need to distribute 0.5 times x. We get 0.5x. 0.5 times a negative 4. If you're not sure, always go to your calculator. 0.5 times negative 4. We get a negative 2. Equal. Now we need to take 0.25 times 4. So 0.25 times 4. Ooh, I don't know what I typed in. Crazy Miss Faina. 0.25 times 4. There we go. We get 1. So we have a 1x. And then the 0.25 does not go to the other 4, so it's just plus 4. Now we need to get our x's to one side, our numbers to the other. So let's just move the 1x to the other side. So we're going to subtract 1x from both sides, minus 1x. So when we do that, 0.5 minus 1, again, use the calculator. 0.5 minus 1, you get a negative 0.5. X minus 2 is equal to 4. Now move the 2 over, so plus 2, 2, plus 2. Okay, we get a negative 0.5. X is equal to 4 plus 2, which is 6. Then we need to divide by negative 0.5 on both sides. Divide by negative 0.5. X equals 6 divided by negative 0.5. 6 divided by a negative 0.5, we get a negative 12. So that would be our x value. So we're just going to type that in. Again, you would do the move select tool, click on the box, type it in, negative 12. Okay. So looking at the next one, it's an inequality. So when you type it in, we have to make sure that we have the inequality typed in. So we need to start by distribute. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 is greater than 10x minus 11. We need to get x's to one side, variables to one side, numbers to the other. So let's go ahead and just subtract 10x from both sides, minus 10x. When I do that, I get a negative 1x minus 3 is greater than, those cancel out, a negative 11. I add 3 to both sides. Okay, I get a negative 1x is greater than 9, or sorry, not 9, 11 plus 3, negative 11 plus 3. That would put us at 8, negative 8. Okay, I need to divide both sides by negative 1, but something special happens when we divide by negative 1. Our sign flips the other way, and negative 8 divided by negative 1 is positive 8. So in the text box, you would type in x is less than 8. X is less than 8. Okay, looking at the next one. It says, which of the following are correct descriptions of the linear parent function? Select all that apply. So we even have a picture of the linear parent function. And we want ones that are correct. So let's look. Pass through the origin. Well, yeah, that does pass through the origin. That's a true statement. The line has a negative slope. Well, a negative slope would be decreasing. This is increasing, so that is false. The equation is y equals x. Yes, that is true. The domain and range is all real numbers. Yes, because it has no stop, so true again. And the graph has a slope of 1. Well, I go up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1. Yes, that's true. So we want the true one, so we would type in A, C, D, E with no extra spaces. A, comma, C, comma, D, comma, E. Done. You would type that in. Okay, looking at number 14, a linear graph is shown on the grid. Which of the following are correct descriptions of the graph? Select all that apply. The slope is 0. Well, remember, vertical lines have an undefined slope, so that's false. Okay, the range is all real numbers. Well, bottom to top, yes it is. That's a true statement. The domain is 3. That's correct because it's just going through that x value of 3. That is true because it's not going left or right. The slope is undefined. Yes, that is very true. The domain is all real numbers. That is false because it's not going left or right. It's staying at one constant x value. So we want the true ones. So we have B, comma, C, comma, D. Okay, and you would type that in with no extra spaces. So if you have any questions, please make sure you reach out to your teacher before the test, and you work hard and you do well on the test. Okay, other than that, have a great day, Rangers.